Hey everybody, this is your September 2022 market update for real estate in the greater Tampa Bay area. We're going to be covering Manatee County, Hillsborough County, Pasco, and Pinellas County, talking about the highest home sold, lowest home sold, and everything in between. We're also going to be covering a 10-year history of what's going on with the market, because if you've been watching the media, it's talking about the real estate market's going to crash. Let's look at the data, see what's really going on. Stay tuned. Hey, my name is Henderson. I'm a licensed real estate agent based out of eXp Realty, where we help buyers, sellers, and investors find properties here in the area. If you guys would like to learn more, check out the description below where you can book a meeting, find all my information. Now let's jump into it. All right, so the market is going through a shift right now. If you haven't noticed, properties are sitting on the market longer. Buyers are starting to actually get better deals. But let's see what's actually going on if we look at the sales data. And I put together a 10-year graph of the 4 counties that we're covering, which, like I said, is Pinellas County, Hillsborough, Manatee, and Pasco County, which is really all of the greater Tampa Bay area. And we're going to see what's happened over the last 10 years, what's happening this year, and what it looks like over the last 3 years as well. So if we take a look at the screen here, we can see that this blue line, it represents everything, all the sales data from January through December from 2022 all the way back to 2011. The reason that I show this information is because real estate, like I've talked about in some of my previous videos, has a cyclical nature where it goes through trends throughout the year. We can see that in January, that's usually the lowest sales volume month because all the holidays that happen in December. The way that real estate works is usually it takes about 30 days to close on a property. So if you're closing on that, all the sales that happen in December, the closings that actually happen in January. So if we're looking at this, because December is pretty heavy with the holidays, a lot of people aren't buying and selling. January is naturally going to be lower. But if we look from January all the way up through about June timeframe, sales typically increases, and then from June all the way until November, traditionally sales volume goes down. And the reason for that is usually a lot of families are taking summer vacations during the June timeframe, and we'll see that reflected in July and continue on all the way until November. And November is another great sales month because that's the last kickoff before the end of the year. So if we compare that to what's gone on this year, you can see that if we average it out, this blue line is the average over the last 10 years, but if we average it out over the last 10 years, it's still been higher all the way up through June, which if we look at the trends, we would expect it typically to go down. And in the past, it's gone down about 250 home sales between that month. But in this month, it went down about 800 sales. But if we compare that to, let's say, 2020, which is this yellow line here, we can see that from March 2020 all the way through May, March is really when the pandemic announcement happened. And you can see between March through May, there was about 1,200 sales that dropped off in that 2-month time frame. But really between this June to last month, which is August, it dropped off about 850 homes. So it's not as drastic as the pandemic. But what's really going on here? Well, Tampa Bay in this entire area is also pretty heavy investor market, but a lot of the hedge funds and investors have started getting out of the market for a number of reasons. So you've got like BlackRock, Zillow, Open Door have actually stopped making purchases. So that's good and it's bad. It depends on the way you look at it. So if you're a seller or a flipper that was looking to sell properties maybe to Open Door, that's kind of dried up a little bit. You need to sell more to your standard buyers that would be looking instead of like the institutional buyers. In addition to that, with the interest rates having gone up, a lot of buyers have exited the market. Well, that's actually good news now, because if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what would happen, now is a perfect time to buy, because a lot of the buyers I've been working with, the negotiations have gone a lot easier. You're not competing with a lot of cash offers. You're usually able to negotiate a little bit better. But what about if you're a seller in this market? What does that actually mean for you? Well, if you're trying to sell, if you look at the trends, now all the way through November, it's going to decrease in the sales volume, but November is still going to be the best month. If maybe you thought you missed the boat, you haven't. November is still going to be the best month to sell if we look at historical trends. Now, what's going to happen over the next few months? Look, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't say exactly. But again, if we look at the sales data that's happened over the last decade, we can see that the sales volume typically goes down all the way through November and then goes back up. So regardless of what's happening on the market, I still anticipate that's what's going to happen. Now, if we compare the sales volume by unit sales, the last time that August was about 3,817 is what the sales was for all 4 counties in the month of August. The last time we saw that was back in 2014. So the sales volume has gone down, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It really just depends on what you're trying to do. All right. So next, I'm going to jump straight into Pinellas County and talk about some of the highest homes sold, lowest homes sold, longest days on market, to give you an idea what's really going on with the market and some areas you may want to think about if you're considering moving to the Tampa Bay area, or maybe you're thinking about selling. So we're going to start off with the highest home sold in Pinellas County, which is actually Tierra Verde. Let's go ahead and pull this up. It sold for $5.6 million. This also was only on the market for 5 days. It was about 4,982 square feet, 5-bedroom, 5.5 bathroom, sat right on the water. We'll take a look at some pictures here, but if you can see, again, this was right on the water. A little bit south of St. Pete is where Tierra Verde is located, and part of the greater Tampa Bay area, but it sits right near that opening by the Skyway Bridge, which is located right here. So, but if we take a look at the photos, you can see this has a massive garage. And the time frame that this was built, it was built in 1986. One thing to understand about the Tampa Bay area is FEMA came in around the 70s time frame and then set the flood elevation where properties could be built. So anything that's like 80s and newer, you'll see a lot of this style to where the bottom level or the bottom elevation that's below the flood level actually has to be stuff like garage. So the house really starts on the second level anytime you're really close to the water. If you got an older home like previous 1970s, you won't see that. But as far as take a look at this house, you can see it's got this amazing view right near this beach and island. I love this style of house. Just taking a look at the kitchen here, we can see that there's a nice breakfast bar area, marble countertops, a little bit older style of a kitchen, but still you have to appreciate the workmanship that went into this house. And as we take a look at the outside, you've got a stone paved back patio that's overlooking the waterway, access to your own private pool, jacuzzi, outdoor grill, and this place is just amazing. All right, so next we're going to take a look at the highest over asking sale. And this one's kind of interesting because I actually took a look in this house, and you can see that this was originally listed at $200,000, but it sold for $705,000. So you might be asking, what the heck is going on here? Because this house was in really bad shape. And it was, the floors had tons of termite damage. There were structural issues in here. But what actually happened with this one is this was located in a really hot spot, which is called Gulfport right now. A ton of people are looking to move in this area. And this property was sold not just for one lot, but it was sold for 4 lots is how they set this up. So somebody picked this up, 4 lots for $705,000, and the homes in this area typically go for about $450,000 to $500,000, completely renovated. So this is actually a pretty good deal that they got for the 4 lots. More than likely, they were going to take this property and demolish it because it was in really bad shape. But for $705,000, $705,000. That was a pretty good deal for this one. Again, it sat on the market for 8 days. This was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, but the rest of the properties had some things that were demolished. So any builder could come in through here and start building on those lots. So next we're going to be talking about the lowest sale in Pinellas County. This one was located in St. Pete. And as you can see here, this one, if I pull up the map, was located pretty close to 275. This is a nice up and coming area, pretty desirable. But as we look at this property, clearly it's an investor property. It's got quite a bit of work. There's only 2 photos on this property, but we can see it was originally listed at $130,000. It sold for $90,000. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, only 736 square foot. But this area for $90,000, if they rehabbed it, could have easily gone for $250,000 to $300,000 or even higher, depending on the rehab or additions that they put on this property. So $90,000 is actually a really good price for this property. So next, we're going to go to the biggest price drop in Pinellas County, which was $400,000 from the original asking price. This property was originally listed for $2.2 million. It sold for $1.8 million, and this was located in St. Pete Beach. The way that St. Pete Beach is laid out, if we look at the satellite here, you can see that all of the beachfront properties are actually located across Gulf Way or Gulf Boulevard area. And this property is as close as you can get to the water. And just to zoom out on the map here, to give you some perspective, it's pretty close to Tierra Verde and the southernmost part of Pinellas County. So if we go back and look at this property, this was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, 1,500 square feet. This home was built in 1920s, which is pretty common for the beach homes in this area, unless it's been demolished and rebuilt. And as we take a look through the photos, you can see this has got an amazing view on this property. Very beach style. It's got tons of palm trees. It doesn't look like they've done a full renovation on this property, which is probably why it sat so long. It actually was on the market for 143 days. But you can see it's got some quartz countertops. Definitely a beach style and vibe to it. And in a really convenient spot if you're wanting some exclusivity near the beach, because once you get that far south on St. Pete Beach, the only reason you're really going there is usually if you live there or maybe staying at an Airbnb. Finally, for Pinellas County, we're going to be covering the longest days on market, which happened to be 270 days on market. This one happened to be a new build, so that's not too big of a surprise because most builders, when they purchase the lot, they'll usually list it on market as a pre-construction. So this sat for 270 days on market. The forecasted square footage is 3,800 square feet. It's predicted to be an 8-bedroom, 5-bathroom residence, and it went for $5.5 million. And just to take a look at this, Reddington Shores is located a little bit north, right here, next to Seminole and south of Indian Shores. And if we zoom out from Tampa, it's really close to the water. And in this case, as you get a little bit further north, you do have beachfront access, which is why this property went for so much more than the other property in St. Pete Beach. All right, so let's talk numbers for Pinellas County. We showed some properties, but let's talk about what's actually going on with the numbers. So for Pinellas County, last month, there was 963 homes sold, which is an 18% decrease from the previous year, but a 14% increase since the previous month. So another number that we're going to want to take a look at, the active days on market is about 19 days and cumulative about 20 days. But as we compare that to the previous month, we look here, it actually came in at about 15 days on market. So we're now seeing an increase of 4 to 5 days property sitting on the market. You can see since last year, it's an increase of 21%. And since last month, it's 27% increase. So properties are starting to sit longer like we talked about originally. And the next most important information really to look at is the price per square foot sold in Pinellas County, because regardless of fluctuations in the market, This will actually give you a clear expectation of what's really happening in the market. And we can see that the price per square foot came in at $328.80 per square foot for Pinellas County for all of the single family home sales, which is still an increase of 19.53% from the previous year, but it is a decrease of almost 3% from the previous month. So what does that mean? Well, a lot of the media will have you believe that the real estate market has crashed, is crashing, and it's a terrible time to look at any real estate. Well, if you look at this, the last 2 years have been the best years ever. And even with a small decrease, we're still 20% above where we were last year. So that's still really good numbers to look at. And in fact, if you're thinking about buying, now is a time that you can actually get into the market and try to buy a property. If you're thinking about selling, well, don't chase the market down. Make sure you drop that price below what the market is so you can still get those multiple offers on that property. All right, some final numbers here for Pinellas County. The total sales volume of all the properties sold came in at $542 million in total sales, which is actually a decrease of 3.4% from this time last year, but it is an increase of 10% since the previous month. As far as the average sale price for all the home sales in Pinellas County, that comes in at $563,000. If you watched one of my previous videos, I was showing the median, but here I want to give you a perspective of what the average price actually is and factoring in those $5 million properties all the way down to like $100,000 properties. So the average is this, but as we compare that to last year, it's still, again, an increase of almost 18%, but it is a decrease of almost 4% on average from the previous month. So again, that's pretty correlated with the average price per square foot. Now, as we take a look at the amount of homes that are selling over asking, it came in at 263 homes over asking out of the 963 homes that were on the market, which is about 27% of the homes have sold over asking. But let's compare that to last year, which 43% of the homes were selling over asking. And last month, 35% were selling over asking. So there is a trend that properties are staying longer on the market. Property values are not getting as many offers. They're not getting as many over asking offers. There are still some strategies to be able to do that, but we can see that there's a significant trend in properties that are starting to not get as many properties over asking price. All right, so next we're going to be talking about Hillsborough County, which is all of this area here, which is not necessarily on the peninsula. The South Tampa area, which is one of the most expensive in the entire area. And this one that we're going to be looking at first is actually located in Beach Park. This one was 38th Sandpiper Road. It was originally listed at $9.8 million, and that's what it sold for. We can see this is for data entry only. This more than likely was a brand new build. You can see it was built in 2020, and this was built at 7,608 square feet, 6-bedroom, 7.5 bathroom. It had 6 garage spaces, and let's see what photos they actually had listed here. The only 2 that they had listed was the front and the back of it. And if we look at this area on the map, this has an oversized pool and in a really convenient location because this is close to the airport, which is just north of it. The one thing about this area that surprises me a little bit is if you end up moving to this area, very, very expensive homes because of convenience. You've got the arena and the downtown district right here, but it is extremely noisy when you move here. So unless you're right in the house and have a lot of soundproofing, you have tons of planes flying right over you. I mean, look at this. You've got the runway, which is just north of you. So the planes are landing and taking off right near your house. So just one thing to realize if you move to the area. A lot of people love living here, but that is one turnoff that you may want to consider if you're thinking about moving in this area. Next, as we look at the highest over asking price, this one went $700,000 over the original asking price. This was on the market for 249 days, but it was a new build. So again, that's not that big of a surprise. Most new builds sit for quite a while. And this one was forecast to be a 5-bedroom, 4 and 2.5 bathroom, 4,383 square foot. And this has 2 garage spaces. And if we take a look at where this is located in Tampa, again, this is in that same South Tampa region. And what's interesting about this one is this entire area right here. It's pretty common that people are buying older homes, knocking them down and rebuilding them. In fact, if we look here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but you can see that back in July 23rd of 2021, this house was picked up for $455,000. And we can even see the photos of what it looked like previously. This was the previous house and what it looked like. Clearly, somebody could live in it pretty easily, but they buy these homes, knock them down, and then rebuild them to a brand new layout. And you can even see here's what the floor plan was forecast to be for this property. So it's probably still under development on this one, but that's pretty common for what's going on in the South Tampa area if that's something that you're looking for. In fact, a lot of the properties on the water range anywhere from $1.7 million all the way up to $12 million in this area. If you're able to pick something up for around $2 million, it's actually a pretty good deal if it's right on the water. The next, we're going to be talking about the lowest sale in Hillsborough County, and that comes in at $57,000. So this property is located in Seffner. So if we pull that up on the map here, it's pretty far outside of Tampa. If we look, it's on the most outskirts area of Hillsborough County, but you can usually find your best deals here. And we can see that this was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, but looking at the photos here, we can see that even though this was built in 1977, it looks like they're doing some work to the block walls and they have at least the foundation here, but it needs just about everything to this property, including roof, inside, finishings, everything. But for $57,000, that's actually a pretty good deal for this property. All right, next for Hillsborough County, we're going to be talking about the biggest price drop, which came in at $495,000. And it's located right here on the Bayshore Boulevard in Tampa. And if we want to pull this up, this is, again, in that South Tampa area. This is a really nice location because you've got an overlook of Davis Island, a lot of the channel side where the boats end up coming through. And if we zoom out, again, just to give you bigger perspective, it's right here centrally located to Tampa. Really convenient spot. Now, the one thing about this area, if I pull up the satellite, is most of the homes right here, you've got Bayshore Boulevard, which runs right against the water. So all the homes on this side of Tampa, you're going to end up getting across the water. You're not going to have a boat that has access to the bay. So if you've thought about moving here, that's just one thing to think about on the west side of the South Tampa area. You're not going to be getting complete waterfront property, but you will at least have waterfront view. But this property is a pretty large lot. Let's take a look at the rest of it. It was a 5-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom. This was built in 1920, but they did a really good job of keeping this house together. This has 3 garage spaces, 5,561 square feet of heated space. And if we take a look at the photos, it's got this nice updated what's called hardy board that's becoming pretty popular around here. And you can see pretty classical but modern look to this property. It's nicely staged. You've got an office here overlooking the water. And you can see here, again, this is the view that I was talking about. You can see the street that overlooks the water. This road isn't as busy as northern Tampa, so at least you shouldn't have a ton of traffic if you're thinking about moving in this area. But again, this isn't waterfront, but waterfront view if that's where you're looking to move to. This actually has an amazing wine cellar right near the dining room. I mean, look at this. You can pretty much put your entire stock of wine collection in here right next to the butler's sink as well. And look at this kitchen. We've got a tray ceiling above, quartz countertops, modern white shaker cabinets. They really did a great job of modernizing this 1920s home, which explains why this sold for $6.5 million last month. And finally, for Hillsborough County, we're going to be talking about the longest days on market. This was on the market for 335 days, so almost a year. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom. Looks like it needed a little bit of work on this property, but it was $650,000. And that usually would be a little bit surprising, especially for the Sefner, Valrico area, but it has to do with the lot size. This was over 5 acres. And as we look at the photos here, you can see that the property needs quite a bit of work. But if we look at the map, this is one of the biggest lots in the area. And if you compare it to some of the other subdivisions, I'm willing to bet that somebody picked this up to subdivide the lots and build multiple houses on it, because for $620,000 for the lot size, that's a pretty good deal. All right, next we're going to cover the numbers for Hillsborough County, and we're going to talk about the volume of sales first. So there was 1,418 units sold for single-family homes in Hillsborough County. That's a decrease of sales, again, like you saw from last year, of 26% in Hillsborough County, and it's a decrease since last month of 10%. So quite a bit of difference between Pinellas County and Hillsborough County that we're taking a look at. But now when we take a look at the average days on market for last month, it came in at about 18 and a half to almost 19 days on market, which is an increase of 41% since the same time last year and an increase of 30% since last month. The properties are starting to sit longer. Now, if we take a look at the average price per square foot, that came in at $246.60, which again is still an increase of 20% since this time last year. So your property values have appreciated 20%, regardless of what the media will tell you, but it is a decrease of 4% since last month. As we look at total volume of sales, $735 million worth of real estate single-family home sales last month, which is a decrease of 14% since the previous year and still a decrease of about 15% since last month. But again, from now through November, most of the sales volume is decreasing, as it does traditionally all the way to November, and then December closings go up quite a bit. So average price per house, $518,000, which is a better deal than Pinellas County if you're looking to get more house for your money. That is an increase of 16% since last year, but a decrease of almost 5% since last month. And then finally, when we take a look at the number of homes sold over asking, it's 408 out of 1,418 homes, which is about 28% of the homes have sold over asking. But if we compare that to last year, the same month, it was 50% of the homes, which is really high, sold over asking. And even last month, it was still 41% were selling over asking. So not as many homes selling over asking. That usually means that the prices need to come down to be able to get competitive offers, to be able to get that price up. All right, next we're going to be moving into Pasco County, which is a little bit north of Pinellas and Hillsborough County. There's a lot of people that are looking to move to Pasco County because it's actually the most affordable area in the Tampa Bay. It is a little bit far outside of a lot of traditional things, like if you're looking to go to some of the sporting events or maybe downtown Clearwater or the beaches, but it is much, much more affordable, and you're going to get the most house for your money in this area, and it's where a lot of new development and new construction is actually going on as well. So if we take a look at the first property here, we're going to be talking about the highest sale in all of Pasco County last month, and it came in at $2.75 million. This was a 5-bedroom, 5 and 3 half baths. It was built in 2015. This property featured 5 garage spaces, and it was almost 7,000 square feet. This is one of the largest homes I've personally seen in Pasco County, and you can see that it's got attached and a breezeway to get to some additional garage spaces. I really like the architecture on this. This kind of reminds me of where I originally moved from, which is Ohio. but I like the style of this house and the landscaping as well. Personally, you can see it's overlooking a nice lake. Just watch out for the gators because I'm not seeing any fences here. And as you can see from the photos, the entryway, it's got this nice spiral staircase walking into it. A nice open concept for this with a lot of modern updates, including it looks like quartz countertops. You even got an open wraparound balcony that opens up to the entertainment area, which is a really nice addition to this property. And again, as we look at the kitchen, it looks like it's got a built-in refrigerator as well, which is a really nice touch to this. A gas grill, which again isn't super common for the Florida area, but I personally love gas because I think it's a lot easier to cook with. Heats up and cools down basically instantly. As we take a look outside of the pool deck and area, nice stone pavers. The entire thing is screened in with a lanai and an outdoor cook area. This place would be great for any sort of outdoor entertaining. And again, for $2.75 million, this is actually a really great deal in all of the Tampa Bay area, because if you were south of this, again, location, 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 which is the name of real estate, because of where this is at, you get a lot of house for your money. If this was south, this would easily be $5 million or more for this size property. All right, so next we're going to be talking about the highest over asking price in Pasco. Went for $115,000 over the original asking price, which was $1.2 million, and it ended up selling for $1.315 million. This property was built in 2020, so it's a fairly new property. 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom, 3-car garage, 4,576 square feet. And as we just look to see where this is located, this is in a nice new development community near Wesley Chapel. And if we look at the map view, we can see it's pretty far north. But again, there's a lot of new construction going on in this Wesley Chapel, Odessa, as a lot of properties have already been developed on. These are becoming communities that have planned unit developments where you've got pools, entertainment, and a lot of other things built into the communities themselves. So this may be an area, if you're considering where you might want to move to, Wesley Chapel, these places north, there's a lot of new construction. There's also down in Manatee and Parish, Palmetto, a lot of communities being built down here as well. But just taking a look at the photos here, I love the tile roofs on this. It's also got nice brick pavers on the driveway. It looks like a 3-car garage. And this is a 2-story house. I love this spiral staircase going up to the balcony. You can see there's obviously a waterfall overflow from the jacuzzi. Nice splash pad area. Tons of ways to entertain in this type of house. And as you enter into the house, there's this nice open concept walking up through the staircase with a balcony overlooking the entryway. And look at this kitchen. It's got quartz countertops. We've got these candelabra, chain lighting, which is a modern touch in the area. White shaker cabinets throughout, stainless steel appliances. Again, gas stove in this one, which is a really nice touch. And just a completely open concept from the kitchen that flows into the living space with these open arches. These arches are not as common, especially in the newer builds, but I personally like this touch to the house. All right, so this property is in a category of the highest sale that sold in Pasco County in 1 week or less. This property actually sold for $1.525 million. It was originally listed at $1.43 million. And just looking at this property, built in 2015, 6-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom, 5,649 square feet, 3-car garage. And look at this property. Again, tile roofs. I love this garage. Stone patio, nice decor on the outside. This is also a 2-story with a really nice screened-in patio area. And the thing about Florida, if you're going to move here, if you can afford it, buy a property with a screened-in patio, because come summertime, end of summer, there are tons of bugs at night that you really want to avoid if you can help it, especially if you have a pool. It's going to save you a lot of work trying to clean up that pool. This is in the Toscana community here. So it's a really nice, newer built community. You can see the homes are, you can see that all the homes are fairly large size, nice entryway to the community. And this is what I was talking about, the plan unit development. You can see it's got a clubhouse, it's got a pool, a slide, lots of entertaining areas. And this is the style that's being built in those North Tampa / Pasco County areas. Even if you move south to Palmetto and Parrish, it's a little bit more affordable there. But this is a really nice, more modern touch. What a lot of people are really looking for is that community style when you start moving into an area. This is a really good location to look for things like that. So, but again, $1.5 million for this property, for the size of it, that's an amazing deal. But just because of location, because of where it's at in Pasco County, I imagine, give it another couple years, this property is going to be worth much, much more than $1.5 million. Now let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum, talking about the lowest sale in Pasco County. And it happened to be $46,000, whether you want to believe that. It was originally listed for $50,000. This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. This happened to be a property that was in dire need of repair. As you can see, the photos are only of the outside of the property. And this property was located just north of Port Richey. So if I zoom out, you can see it's pretty far north on the Pasco County area. Is about as north as Pasco County goes. You can see it's pretty quick access to some of the canal locations. But this would be a good property for an investor coming in to maybe do some repairs and then turn it into a rental. For that price, usually the land alone costs about that. So that's a pretty decent deal for property, regardless of what the condition of this property was in. As we go to the biggest price drop for Pasco County, this comes in at $187,000. It sold for $1,087,500. It was originally listed for just over $1.25 million. This is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,500 square foot. It was built in 1974. It has 2 garage spaces, but it's right on the water. As we take a look at the map, it's one of the most desirable places in the New Port Richey area, which is right on this canal. Again, it gets you quick access right out to the Gulf. Great place if you have a boat, want to park it. And again, as we take a look at some of these photos, we can see that it's got a pool. Again, it's got a tile roof, nice layout. As you walk into the front door, you have this view of the back area, plus this pool that the entire house wraps around this pool, which is a really neat design. You can see that you've got a den that you walk into and a split layout for this house where you've got kitchen on one side right here with granite countertops, drop ceiling lighting, which is a nice touch. A nice shaded patio area here, as well as some newer decks that looks like they built on here. So again, for this area, $1 million, that's a pretty decent deal for this size of home in its condition with a pool and 2 decks. Finally, the longest days on market for Pasco County coming in at 657 days on the market. This one was originally listed back in June of 2020 for $439,000. They say good things come to those who wait because they got $430,000 a little over 2 years later. But as we take a look at this property, this to me is pretty impressive that they got this price for this. It does have a pool, but in this area, if you're not on the water and a property that's being lived in, this is a pretty good price for the New Port Richey area, which most of the properties sell between $250,000 and $300,000 on average. But if we just take a look at the map to see where this is located, this is in one of the newer communities over by River Ridge. So again, built in 95, it is a newer house, but to get $430,000 for this property is a really good price, especially for sitting for 2 years. Now, as we talk about Pasco County numbers, there were a total of 919 sales for single-family homes last month in August, which is a 10% decrease from last year, but it was about a 2% increase from the previous month. As we look at the active days on market, come in just about 20 days on market, which is a almost 80% increase from last year. This time it was about 11 days on market, August of 2021, and a 40% increase from last month. Those homes, again, are sitting quite a bit longer. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just is getting more into a normal market. Now, as we look at the price per square foot, $221 per square foot in Pasco County. This is one of the highest in the area, 22.6% above last year's numbers and only 0.16% lower than last month. So Pasco County, again, a lot of people are moving into that area because it's a more affordable area, but you can see that the numbers have not declined as much in that area over the last month. And finally, as we take a look at the total sales volume, $387 million sales in Pasco County alone for single-family homes. That is an increase of 8.6% since last year and still an increase of 1.3% since last month. Again, this shows that people are still looking to move into Pasco County, which is one of the most affordable counties in the area. So average cost per home, this is the lowest in the area. $421,000 is the average price per home out of everything that's sold in that area. 21% increase since last year and negligible, almost no decrease since last month. And then finally, as we take a look at the number of home sales over asking, it comes in at 227 out of the 919 homes that sold, which is 24% of the properties that sold were over asking last month. If we compare that to last year, it was 48, almost 50% of the home sales. And last month, again, 37% sold over asking. So over asking, again, same story for the other two counties. It's starting to go down quite a bit. All right, so finally, talking about Manatee County, the last county in this category here, we're going to be talking about this property, which is not only the highest sale, but it's the longest days on market and the biggest price drop, coming in at $950,000 off the original asking price. Let's take a look at this one. So this property was listed 228 days on the market. It was built in 1991. This is a 7-bedroom, 7.5 bathroom. It's 7,677 square feet. And we can see it's a 2-car garage. Clearly, this is professional photos that were done. I personally love the layout of this house. You can see that it's got an entire paved and concrete driveway with a nice walk up into the house. Nice decor. I really love the openness of these pictures on this house as well. And the way they have the first floor and the second floor balcony and overlook separated. And this is on a massive estate. We can see that this is over 5 acres. This property is located just south of the Skyway Bridge and has one of the largest lots in this entire area. So again, coming in at $8.5 million. This is a fantastic property, but it came at a pretty penny. You can see extra large vaulted ceilings throughout this house. Although this isn't the most modern house that I've seen, you really have to appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into building a custom house like this, including the coffered ceilings in the dining room area and the kitchen layout as well. Again, this is not the most modern look, but I personally like this look. It's more of a mid-century modern look to this house, which I know is a big favorite of a lot of people. And as we take a look outside, you've got a long walk out into your own private deck with a boat lift, your own private beach on this, extra large custom pool with a waterfall jacuzzi, and even your own private pond on this property. All right, so the second home in Manatee County is the highest over asking price, coming in at $160,000 over the original asking price, which came in just shy of $2 million. Is originally listed just a little bit shy of $1.8 million. This property is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, has a private pool, just short of 3,000 square feet. and it has 3 garage spaces. Again, this one's overlooking the water. As we pull it up on the map here, this is located in Palmetto. And as you can see, this property is in a nice little tucked away cove, which really protects it from the elements. A nice community. It's got its own private boat dock. But as we're taking a look through the photos, it's got this tile roof, nice Florida decor, and this really good open concept where you've got the kitchen that outlooks the entire water from being able to see where you're cooking, your dining room, your entertainment area, all the way into the pool and the water. I mean, just look at this view. Amazing. And finally, the lowest sale for Manatee County coming in at $110,000. This property was on the market for 61 days. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. It's only 860 square feet. But as we take a look at the photos, you can see there's quite a bit of work that's needed to this property. There's a lot of damage to the property structurally. You can see it's settled in the back. You've got wood that's starting to come off of the property. The roof needs replaced. Clearly, this is something that an investor would want to pick up. But if we look at the area on where this is located, it's just over the Skyway Bridge. As you come into Bradenton, it's a pretty convenient spot. So for picking this up for $110,000, this is actually a pretty good deal because this house is going to be worth much, much more than that once they get done finishing this. But obviously, there's going to be some structural issues. So I'm not sure if they pick this up just for the land. Probably not. They're probably trying to rehab the home. Otherwise, the land would have been a little bit less, probably around $60,000 to $75,000 in that area. And for the final county, Manatee County, as we take a look at the numbers here, the total unit sales for single-family homes came in at 524 houses. That is a decrease of 17% since last year, and also a decrease of 8% since the previous month. Now, as we take a look at the days on market, again, same trend here, about 19, almost 20 days on market. That's a 57% increase since the same time last year and a 37% increase since last month alone. As far as the cost per square foot, this is really the telling sign to take a look at. $302 per square foot, almost $303. That is still an increase of 11% since last year, but this is the biggest drop, 5.6% decrease since last month alone. So Manatee County, out of all 3 of the counties, is actually taking some of the biggest hits right now. So something to think about if you're choosing areas to live in. As far as sales volume, $347 million worth of home sales last month alone. That's a decrease of 7.6% since the same time last year and a decrease of 12% since last month. And if we look at the average home cost in Manatee County, it's one of the more expensive areas to live. It came in at $663,000 for the average home price, which is still 11.4% increase from the same time last year, but it is almost a decrease of 5% since last month alone. And the final number to look at, the amount of homes that are selling above asking price came in at 118 of the 524 homes that sold, which is 22.5% of the homes sold above asking. But if we compare that, similar numbers, it came in at 48% last year of the homes were selling over asking, and last month it was about 30% over asking. Thanks so much for watching this video. Again, my name is Dennis Henderson. I'm a local real estate agent based out of the greater Tampa Bay area. If you found any value in this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're interested in moving into the area, what type of videos you might like to see in the future. Feel free to get in touch with me. You can book a private one-on-one meeting with me. Give me a phone call, send me a text, however you'd like to get a hold of me. I'll see you on the next one.